I love the haystack analogy, right? Because the hypothesis is that as you shovel more or pitchfork more hay onto the haystack, it gets harder and harder to find the needle. That may or may not be true. I mean, it might not be true if you're using the right tool. So I think that's where the data piece comes in. And I mean, just for clarity, I know you guys know, but decentralized trials aren't about data. They're about the patient, right? So it's more about DCTs being a set of tools. I mean, data is included in that, tools and processes to build or sculpt a protocol around the patient. So, having said that, data is going to be playing an increasing role in managing these studies, especially as you get a lot more data sources involved. But whether you're actively doing decentralized trials or not, the problem is the same around data quality. So like I will give you two examples of how data quality will definitely increase, and one hypothetical answer on how it could potentially decrease. But I mean, certainly that could be mitigated too. But really, when you're talking about aggregating data, collecting data, et cetera. So, and Karen, I don't want to steal any of your input here, but I know from a system standpoint, anytime you automate, integrate systems, remove like the human manual data element, the better the quality is. I mean, without question. So you have less chance for manual data entry errors. And that's when I was talking about, operational data, especially like CTMS, just riddled with blanks and, dates out of sequence and things like that. So that issue is completely mitigated if you have appropriate interfaces in place. So, the ideal state would be having a single data model platform where all these data sources are coming in. So in that scenario, data quality would definitely be increased. Another example is that accessibility component, I think was question 2. I mean, the more you automate and the more you have data accessible, the more frequently you can, and the more efficiently you can actually mitigate any risks that come up quickly. So you don't have to rely on, lagging spreadsheets or PowerPoint dashboards from your vendor. You could actually have access to that data immediately, see that, whether it's a KRI or KPI, and actually act on it. So those are two examples where I think that data quality is definitely going to increase because data is going to be more emphasized. The one scenario where I think it could decrease is around introducing variability. So as I mentioned, DCTs, there's a process component. So it's not just about data and technology, it's about home health care. It's about, going to CVS for a blood draw or going to Walgreens for a blood draw. So any of those touch points increase variability. So the more of those touch points you have, there's going to be a change management issue. And again, I'm not sure this is a data issue, but there's a training issue. So like when you go to any of these, like if a patient goes to CVS, I mean, they have to be trained to notice if the patient says, hey, I have a really bad headache, and capture it appropriately. So I think that could be some growing pains here from a decentralized side.